I'm not a real like political person when it comes to like certain issues that I feel are affecting our society or my community in particular. And when I say my community, I'm usually speaking upon, you know, the African American community, because that's the community I come from, and especially the inner city African American community. I see education as being a huge issue. I see the family as being a very huge issue. And I think that's kind of where African Americans have slacked off and have struggled for years and years and have kind of stepped away from, you know, back in the day when the church was like the central, I guess, social institution that kind of disseminated information, and our leaders came from the church. You know, our social environments kind of stem from the church. You know, you had church groups, church basketball teams. You know what I mean? People left their house to get information. Now people just sit at home and watch TV or get on the internet, and they don't really interact with one another. There's no real unity. It used to be a situation where I could walk down the block. If I was hanging with the wrong person, somebody else's mother would be willing to admonish me and say, you don't need to be with that person. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, people are just like, that's not my kid, so I'm not gonna say nothing. You know, a sense of neighborhood and a sense of unity is kind of broken down, and part of it is because people don't feel like they have hope. I feel like education is a part of that. You know, you got people living in bad neighborhoods, going to bad schools where teachers don't care, so we're not getting the same head start that other kids in other neighborhoods are getting. We're not getting the same opportunities kids in other neighborhoods are getting. So therefore, you know, dreams aren't made to seem possible or real. And then with the family, there's a lot of broken homes in the African-American community. You know, how to fix that, I don't really know, but I think the extended family needs to take a larger role, and, you know, the extended community has to feel more responsible for their fellow, you know, fellow man or whatever you want to say. That sounds corny, but I just think these days people think so individualistic that they don't, you know what I mean, they don't realize that the short money and going against the system isn't necessarily the right way to go. Taking a stance and making education a good education, more readily available for people, and show people that they have options is very critical in the African American community. It has to start very, very early too. You can't pull a kid at 13 years old and think, you know, you can, you know, pluck them out and put them in a charter school and everything's gonna be okay. Like, that's not really what it is. So I think it really starts with the family, and from there, you know, really being able to work on the school system. So those are my big, you know, I guess causes that I work towards, or things that I give back towards, because I do a lot of mentoring, tutoring. You know, I give speeches at schools and do things like that. I don't really talk about it much, but I just do things like that on my spare time, just because I feel like it's necessary for people to see somebody that's doing something productive that comes from where they come from. And that alone can serve as inspiration to just want to know how that person got to where they wanted to be. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And through my fraternity, I've been doing work since college, you know what I mean? Just in the community, whether it was in West Philadelphia, whether I was living in LA, or even when I'm in Chicago. I've been involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters for a while. I've kind of stepped back just because we're on the road so much. But I've always been kind of active in that. And I work with this group called the Happiness Club, which is it's a not-for-profit, but it's an after-school program basically built to build self-esteem with kids through being creative in the arts and music. You know, anytime people approach me about doing stuff, I'm usually receptive. So, you know, I've done tons of speaking at high schools and tons of speaking at colleges. Anytime an opportunity comes up and I can make it happen, and I try to like kill a lot of birds with one stone.